Alright folks, today we are looking at compact 4-channel amplifiers. And I had a couple of other ones that I was going to put in this list, but after reviewing them, they had some terrible reviews. And so everything that I have in this list has a 5-star rating, just to point that out. And it's all reputable, so I think we have a pretty good lineup here. And there's a couple of variables involved, but my key criteria is they all had to be 50 watts per channel, 4-channel, and had to be, small and compact and easy to hide in a small space. That was the criteria. Everything else they bring is just what they bring to the party. So they had to meet that criteria, but the other stuff is specific to that amplifier. And in this lineup, we're starting it out with Rockford Fosgate Punch Series PBR 400X4D. Then we have the kicker 47 kicker 200.4, the kicker key. That's the important bit, and it has some tricks up its sleeve. The kicker key 200.4. Then we have the Clarion XC2410. It is a compact 4-channel, 50 watts per channel amplifier. Then we have the audio control ACM 4.300, another 4-channel, 50 watt per channel amplifier. And the prices are relatively similar across the board. The outlier being the most expensive one, which would be the audio control at $369, and then the Clarion being the least expensive at $179. But then we're looking at $251 for the kicker and $279 for the Rockford. So they're all, in a general kind of the same ballpark. So let's get on with the specs and see what we got going on in here. Now, these are all new stock, of course. And they're all 50 watts by 4 channels. So those things are out the window. Now, we're not looking at peak power numbers because we don't care what that is. Power at 2 ohms. So do you want to put 2 4-ohm speakers on one channel, or maybe run a 2-ohm speaker on a channel, or maybe you want to put a mid driver and a tweeter on a channel together, without a crossover for some crazy reason. Whatever it is you've got going on, you may end up needing to go down to 2 ohms. If that's the case, then you won't be able to do that with the kicker key. The kicker key is a 4-ohm only setup. So keep that in mind. No drops below 4 ohms for that driver. Now the Rockford allows you to do that. It'll get you up to 100 watts by 4 if you're running at 2 ohms. So you can get more power out of that Rockford. If you're running 2 4-ohm speakers in parallel on one channel, you're going to get full output on both those drivers. So that gives a little more flexibility for that Rockford. The Clarion and the audio control also have the same option. At 2 ohms, they'll give you about 75 watts apiece. So still a good upgrade. The kicker key does not do any of this, as it'll only play at 4 ohms. None of these will handle 1 ohm. Now, the Rockford is bridgeable, and when you bridge it, meaning you put a 4-ohm load on 2 4-ohm channels across the 2, and create a 2-ohm load on the 2 4-ohm channels. When you use a 4-ohm load, you can get 200 watts out of each of those bridge connections. So you can turn this into a 200 watt 2-channel, or a 200 watt 1-channel, 100 watt 2 channels, however you want to set it up, which means 3 of these amplifiers could play a small subwoofer in 2 front channels. So that's a thing. And the Rockford will give you 200 watts if you bridge it. The Clarion and the audio control both are 150 watts if you bridge it. So you get 150 watts on one channel and then 250 watt channels, so forth and so on. And then going down, they're all minimum bridged. Ohm load is 4 ohms. Again, kicker is not participating in any of this, so they're not having any part of any of this. Minimum impedance on all of them is 2 ohms, except for the kicker, which is still 4 ohms. Frequency response. really it's about the same across the board. They list anything that's got a better range of 20 to 20,000 hertz is the same to me. And both the kicker and the Fosgate will do 20 to 20K. The Clarion says 20 to 30K, and the audio control is 10 to 22K. But you can't hear anything really below 20K or 20 and above 20K. So as long as it's 20 to 20K, I consider it a full range setup. All of these do meet that criteria. Now on the THD, it's kind of interesting. The Rockford, the Kicker, and the Clarion all have 1% THD at rated RMS power. So that's total harmonic distortion. And anything less than 10% is pretty much undetectable. But what's cool is Audio Control's actually bringing an A game here. They actually have 0.1% total harmonic distortion, which is a pretty crazy number. That's a really, really, really low THD. And my hat goes off to Audio Control for that. Signal to noise ratio. The last couple of videos I have misspoken on this. I want to clear it up on this video. The higher number, the better. And what that basically means is the higher the number, the more music you're getting versus background noise. And in this case, Audio Control has the highest signal to noise ratio at 102 decibels, with Kicker coming in there at number 2 spot at 90 decibels, and then Rockford Fosgate at 80 decibels, and Clarion at 70 decibels. So there's several big bonuses here for this Audio Control so far. It's got the highest signal to noise ratio. It's got the lowest total harmonic distortion. And that's 2 big pluses. Now they've all got 14.4 volt maximum input voltage, and they're all Class D. Now this is where things get crazy down here in the filtering category, because, well, you'll see. So on the Rockfords, yeah, this is nuts. The Rockford's low pass filter, low pass crossover frequency is 80 hertz, which is perfectly suitable for running a subwoofer, which is what they got it set for, with a 12 dB per octave roll off, and that's totally fine. Kicker's low pass crossover, I don't understand, but it's 640 3200 hertz. I don't understand exactly what this is supposed to represent, but it doesn't matter because they can't, well, you'll see. Clarion and Audio Control neither have a low pass crossover frequency at all, nor do they have a slope. So we're going down to the high pass. Now Rockford's high pass is 60 hertz and 80 hertz, I guess. Yeah, again, and at a 12 dB roll off. It's a bit weird. I haven't looked into this. I'm assuming it's a switch. Kicker has, of course, 60, 80, 120, 320, or 3200 hertz, and their high pass frequency crossover 24 dB per octave slopes. I really like the 24 dB per octave. That's my favorite slope for crossovers. Clarion is 15 to 250 on their hertz on their high pass crossover, and Audio Control is 80, 120, and bypass. All right. And of course, those are both at 12 dB per octave. None of these guys have bass boost. None of them are fan cooled. And the fuse rating on the Rockford is 60. The fuse rating on the Kicker Key is 20. The Clarion is 40, and the Audio Control is 30 amps. Now, just to clear this all up, and it reminds you guys, when it comes to fuse rating and power output, just basically add a 0 to that fuse rating and it give you an idea of about how much power you can expect the amp to be able to provide. So in the case of the Rockford, we can assume that it can put out 600 watts based on that technique. And it does give the option to produce something similar to that in a configuration. Same with the Kicker. At 20 amps, that's 200 watts, and 50 times 4 is 200. So It doesn't claim to be able to do any more than that, and the fuse represents exactly what they're claiming. The Clarion, and at 40 amps, 400 watts, and then of course the audio control at 300 watts, a 30 amp fuse. So they're all pretty respectable. They all represent what they're claiming to be represented. They all have speaker level inputs, and none of them have preamp outputs. They're all small. I'm not going to read all these dimensions, but let's get down to warranties. So parts warranty for the Rockford is 1 year parts and labor, 2 years for the Kicker parts and labor, 1 year for the Clarion parts and labor. Audio control gives you 5 years warranty parts and labor. And of course audio control also had the lowest harmonic distortion, and they had the highest signal noise ratio. They've got a lot of wins in their book. There's a lot of wins in the audio control book. Now, considering all of these details, there's still one big, huge thing here that I haven't mentioned yet. Kicker, the Kicker Key, has a built-in DSP. None of these other amplifiers have any sort of DSP at all. The Kicker DSP doesn't allow you to go into it and manipulate it yourself. You can't set it up yourself. However, it comes with a microphone and an auto calibration system. So you set this guy up, and you set up the microphone, and you run the calibration, and it will automatically set up a DSP in your car based on the sound in your car. And then it gives you a little button to allow you to go back and forth between non-DSP and DSP. You can also set up lots of little details on how you want it to be DSP'd and what you want to be included in that DSP setting. You can do time alignment, it does everything. It does EQ and time alignment and the whole kit and caboodle. The Kicker Key is a phenomenal little piece of kit. Now that said, if that's not what you're looking for, if you're just looking for an amplifier, based on all the and again, it was actually pretty good in the specs that matter, and the price isn't bad. So if you're looking for a basic 4-channel small amplifier, out of these 4 and their 5-star ratings, I feel totally confident recommending all 4 of them. But I would have to say I'd probably go with the audio control, unless you also want the fancy DSP. And if you're going to set it and forget it and put it away, and you don't really know what you're doing, and you're not planning on buying another DSP, and you just want to get this done and not have to worry about it no more, the Kicker Key is a good choice, because it's going to give you a lot of functionality with very little effort and knowledge on your part to get it installed and up and running, and give you a good 90% tune, which is going to make your ears happy. I think it's a great recommendation. However, if you are more of a tweaker and you like to adjust and fix things, and you're wanting a good lightweight 4-channel, low power 4-channel setup, and you're planning on running a DSP and maybe doing some other stuff, or you're wanting to add some existing channels to a setup you've already got, you just want a small amplifier to be able to stash away, the audio control will be my choice. Mainly because of the low THD, high signal to noise ratio, and the 5-year warranty. Those are 3 big pluses that it has going for it. I mean, yes, it is $369. And if you can't afford that one, if you need the economics, you just want to be as cheap as possible, this Clarion doesn't have any problems. If you're looking for the least expensive, compact, proven track record, good reviews, all the right stuff to make a good solid purchase, then the Clarion XC2410 may be perfect for this scenario. It doesn't have the automatic DSP that the Kicker does. It doesn't have quite the super cleanness and the 5-year warranty of the audio control, but it also doesn't command near as much money. So there's something to be said for that. And if you're looking for Rockford Fosgate, there is a couple more amps in this same category that are similar power-wise that you could compare to. They're going to be in the price range of the audio control, and I would probably go with the audio control over their more expensive Rockford Fosgates. So just saying. You'll notice also the form factor of these. They'll fit in the very tiny areas. The Fosgate's a little bit different shape. It's very small. It isn't near as big as it looks, but still I kind of like this little candy bar form factor. So anyway, you guys find this interesting, if you find it helpful, if you find my opinion helpful, and in this case, this is just an old car audio guy's opinion. But I would go with this guy unless you want the DSP. If you want to do any kind of tweaking, I would go this way. So I think this is an excellent little setup. And they also, if you decide to add another amplifier, they've got this series. You can get multiple amplifiers and put them together with a different cover plate, and you can create a large, what looks like a large amplifier with lots of outputs, with several of these put together, to get the configuration you want. And whenever you put the modular units together, you got a little top piece that you can put on that covers the whole thing in one piece and makes it look like one amplifier. It's very cool. So this would be good for growing a system as well. But they're not cheap. The prices are, a little higher than something else in their class. So bear that in mind. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. Peace out.